right? And so I turned to real estate. And one of the reasons I turned to real estate, maybe like you've turned to real estate, is because I read the books. Like look at all this, like pretty much top shelf and a half, like all real estate books. And those were the first books like I really started reading. And a lot of these books were like no money down deals, you know, creative real estate investing, and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, like there's a lot of books about being able to do real estate with no money, right? And so like I bought it, like hook, line, and sinker. I'm like, if that's even possible, I think I'm gonna give it a shot. And come to find out, it was. So I used my credit card, which is kind of like using money, I'm not gonna lie. But I used my good credit, so I always had good credit, even when I was broke. I used that credit card to buy my first house. But after that, I was able to use creative real estate and use leverage. And then later on began using partnerships and private money to invest. So like if you're holding on to, and like listen to the words I'm saying right now. If you're holding on to this belief, that's on you, because it's just not true. If you can make an argument and say it's absolutely true, Brant, like this is, you know, not true, and we have to have money, I have to have money to invest, or blah blah blah, or you're the exception to the rule. Cool, man. Like you can hang on to that belief if you want, but it's you hanging it on, like you're strapping it over your shoulder, and it's slowing you down, because it's just not true. I've seen this done over and over and over again. I've trained I don't know how many people, how many students to go out and do deals without any money. And so that was my story, right? Like I've already told about it a little bit, where my wife and I live in this apartment, used a credit card to buy a house, and I went out and bought 10 houses. My first year, I put this ugly poster board in our little apartment, and I drew 10 big squares on it. And every time I buy a house, I filled in black with the big old Sharpie marker. And, you know, people laughed at me. I know they did. Like my family thought I was crazy. I think my wife always encouraged me, but I thought she thought I was probably nuts, because she's like, you're going to buy 10 houses. We live in an apartment. We don't have any money. You've never done any real estate. Matter of fact, you have no business experience. You work a full-time job. You work a lot of hours. And we've got a kid. We've got a kid on the way. Have fun with that, you know. And but I did it, you know. So it's a scoreboard for me, right? So what is your dream? So the end of that year, that first year, last week of December, I got out my big black Sharpie marker and I colored in that 10th house, right? And so year two, and that was cool, right? Like that was like a success. I was like, cool. Like I bought 10 houses, like it's awesome. But guess what? I wasn't able to do yet. These are all rental properties, by the way. I wasn't able to quit my job. And that was really the goal, was like, I wanted to quit my job. I was not happy with life and this job that I was working. So year two came about. This was 2008. And guess what? I couldn't get anymore, because I was buying these. So to explain everything, I was buying these houses with hard money. I was getting 100% financing with hard money lenders. And then I was refinancing with the banks. Well, year two came around and they said no. They're like, you know, the bank said, nope, you can't have any more loans. You're maxed out. This was a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mae thing. And I was like, crap, well, what do I do now? I had never heard of private money. I didn't even know it existed. So I knew about partnerships, not anything specific. You hear about people like partnering on stuff. So I went out and found some partners, and I began talking to anybody, right? Beginning of 2008. Matter of fact, I had houses in hard money loans that I had to get out of, that I had to refinance. And so I'm in these hard money loans. I'm like, crap, I don't have any choice. I got to find a way to get out of these deals. So I put together some partnerships with some people. And I'll tell you one thing, it wasn't just pick up the phone and call. I was Brant Phillips, 2008, this was Brant Phillips. I was Brant Phillips working at a company called Ecolab, selling dish machine soap, dishwasher soap, and, you know, wearing a white lab coat and crawling under dishwashers and, you know, swinging a wrench and a screwdriver. So that was me, and calling people and having conversations about investing with me in real estate. Are you kidding me? So that's why I'm telling you guys, leave your excuses and your stories behind, because like I had to hardcore hustle, and I had a lot of I made a lot of phone calls, and I put together some partnerships though, and I was able to accomplish my goal in year two. In year two is to buy 10 more houses. Maybe I should have made it 15 or 20 or whatever. It was 10. I was still working a job, wife, 2 kids now. So that was the goal. So I bought 10 more houses at the end of year two, and that was cool. And then something began to change. So at the end of 2008, I did 10 more deals, all in partnerships, essentially 50-50 partnerships, meaning I did all the work. I found the deals, right? I did all the closing coordination stuff. I managed the rehab. I managed the property. I leased it out myself. I managed it, et cetera, collected rents, did all that kind of stuff. Managed the maintenance. I did everything in exchange for 50% of the deal. Then I realized, let me think about this. So first year, I did 10 deals, and I have 100% ownership and equity in those deals. And year two, I did 10 more deals, and I did all the same amount of work, but I only have half the equity. I'm like, not so good, not so good. So I didn't regret anything about 2008 because I learned a ton. Not only did I learn more about real estate, but I learned about, having conversations with potential investors. And even though I got 3 partnerships, I had so many more conversations and people telling me no. And that was one of the things I learned. Like a no doesn't bother me. The no is just moving one step closer to your next yes. And then in 2009, I learned about private money. I began borrowing from private lenders, continuing to buy houses. I got up to about 25 house rental properties, and I left my job at that time. I began flipping houses and things like that. Yes, I was flipping houses in 2009. I know some of you are my generation. That sounds a little absurd, but I was doing that. And so 2009, about midway through 2009, I began borrowing private money. But listen to me. But every time I would go into a conversation to raise money or to meet with a potential investor, I found myself getting nervous still, like really nervous. And I didn't have a lot of self-esteem maybe, or confidence, whatever you want to call it, but I just felt nervous. Like I was borrowing, money. Like, hey, I'm calling you to borrow some money, loan me some money. It just felt like a freaking victim or something, right?